My name is Sherry, and this is Cross Potent, a place where magical people meet. Today I'm going to bring you the May 2016 horoscope for the Native American Zodiac. This starts out the month with the Sun and the Beaver, the totem of the Beaver. This earthy beaver. This is a sign that tends to give the term spring cleaning a good name. The beaver's very industrious. It's kind of parallels nicely with this time of year when people want to get things tidied up after winter storms and whatnot. On the 20th, the sun goes into the Deer, which is much more communicative, and often this lines up nicely with kids getting out of school, making plans for summer, things being a lot more active in the summer. Wow, it's humid this morning. My glasses are fogging up. Very humid. So we have a nice new moon also in the sign of the Beaver on the 6th. Then the full moon opposes that sun in the that goes into the sign of the Deer later in the month on the 21st. So the new moon is time of beginnings, being in the sign of the Beaver, this more industrious kind of new moon, good time to start projects and whatnot. The Owl full moon on the 21st. Full moons are culmination points, so the Owl is a social sign, also an expansive sign. The owl has many friends in the forest. They're a bit of a social person also, social creature I should say. They have a lot of things going on in their life, usually traveling and adventures and lots of parties and things happening. So a full moon in this sign is going to bring about probably people getting together, things along those lines. It's definitely a much more congenial time to have a party or have a get-together. Also, this lines up nicely with the graduations that are happening this time of the year with the kids getting out of school. We have Mercury in retrograde, but don't worry about it because it's in a good placement with being retrograde in the Beaver. Being retrograde means you're going to redo and revisit issues and things that you thought were done. You might have to go back for a second and third time and fix little things that are going to perfect it, and you need to look at it as these revisions through the retrograde are going to perfect the final product. So even though it might take a little more time and effort, this is really can be very beneficial if you work with it and don't fight it and just try to keep an open mind and pursue the avenues that the retrograde opens up to revisit something that needs a little bit of tweaking in one way or another. Also, and the Beaver, the Mercury goes direct on the 23rd. So after the 23rd, Mercury is going to be going in its natural motion around the sun again instead of perceiving to look like it's going backwards through the retrograde. So on the 23rd, all that we've been working on and processing should start to see the final results smoothing out. Venus, the planet of love, starts out in the Beaver also, moves into the Deer on the 26th, the very end of the month. And the theme is the same with love there. Love influences will tend to be much more practical in the beginning of the month. After it goes into the Deer, it'll be much more about one-on-one communication, also wanting to hang out with maybe siblings or close family members and people that you consider your family, not necessarily blood. Mars also retrograde Saturn is retrograde, Jupiter's retrograde, Pluto's retrograde, a lot of retrogrades still. Mars and Saturn, I touched on this last month, they're both retrograde. Mars is your energy planet in the totem of the owl, and Saturn's retrograde in the totem of the owl. These are lining up nicely with that full moon in the owl on the 21st I was telling you about. So those things that you need to go back and revisit and redo, you have a lot of energy behind you to really fine-tune it in a nice way that's gonna, it might even, since you've got other planets backing this up, it might end up being like even bigger things than maybe just spring cleaning, or it might be something larger in your life because there's so much planetary energy helping that full moon along. Jupiter goes out of retrograde on the 10th, and Jupiter's in the sign of the brown bear. This is a very practical sign. A very good friend of mine's a brown bear. She was telling me all about how she's going to redo her bathroom. She also, I could tell, is feeling that her Jupiter's retrograde, this Jupiter influence is retrograde for her, because she's thinking about renovating and how much more her house would be worth if she renovates the bathroom. And Jupiter's kind of the planet of luck, but a lot of luck is making your own luck, and this influence, I think, on her has been giving her practical ideas about how to make her house worth more. And this is sort of the influence that retrograde planets and kind of have on people. You kind of see things in a new way under retrograde, and we need that often. We need that. Things get a little stale, and sometimes we need that fresh view. Uranus and Neptune are both direct. Uranus is in the hawk. That means changes tend to be very pioneering kind of changes. It would be going from not recycling to recycling your wastes when you throw things out for the garbage. That would be an example of how drastic changes and pioneering ways of doing things can happen. Switching your lights in your house from normal bulbs to fluorescent bulbs to save energy. That is a kind of a thing that you might see under this influence of the hawk, where people are trying brave new things to accomplish things we thought would never be possible 10, 20 years ago. Neptune in the wolf. This is continuing a theme. Neptune will be in the wolf for a long, long time. This is a slow process that happens with the slower moving planets. The wolf is a deep sign, but with Neptune going direct, it's very easy to get in touch with that part of you, the maybe more spiritual side, or the side that's a little more in touch with nature and things along those lines. Pluto is retrograded in the sign of the goose. I've touched on this in videos before. The goose is a high flyer, so transformations are happening in a lot of large institutions around the country and around the world, for that matter. Banks in Switzerland, the Panama Papers. There's all these large, what we call the industrial complex. They're coming crashing down now. This is the power of Pluto on these types of organizations and structures. One of the main planetary aspects I want to talk about this month, a little bit of a rare aspect, is Jupiter square Saturn on the 26th. There's a lot of little Venus aspects, but it's all going to come and go. The big thing I want to talk about is Jupiter square Saturn. This is your, Jupiter is your vision, your luck, motion. Jupiter is a happy planet. Saturn is kind of more of a heavy planet, more of a structure planet, rigid. It's your commitments. So your vision is square to your commitments, and this is going to take a little bit more expertise to straighten those sorts of issues in your life out. You might have a lot of hopes and dreams, but you might be weighed down with commitments that you can't quite get out of, and this is a time when you sort of reset the balance between those sort of things. And I really hope you like this video. If you like this video, you can subscribe by clicking the subscribe button for free and get a little email update every time I post a video. And I really look forward to seeing you again next month. Thanks.